Hi, hello, welcome to my review of this new horror movie, Five Nights at Freddy's, directed by Emma Tammy. It's Halloween, so I thought, okay, why not make a horror review about something? And I realized a week ago that there is a new Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out, and I thought, okay, I have to fucking see this. So yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's, for the people who don't know, is a series of games where it's all about this security guard, and this security guard has to survive 5 shifts in this old pizza place that's called Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. And in this place, there are a few animatronics that come alive, so they are very dangerous and they have to be survived in these games. That's basically the concept of these games. And the whole concept of this being a horror game relies heavily on the fact that you have to sit in one room and just constantly watch the cameras of this pizza place. And a lot of the tension comes from you just kind of waiting for something to happen because you don't know when or what is going to happen, but you know something is going to happen because this game is very quiet and it's very unnerving. And behind all that, there is also a very tragic and sad backstory that is like heart-wrenching to think about, and that makes these games even more disturbing. And so that's a very cool concept for a game, I have to say. It's kind of paranormal activity turned into a game, which I was really a fan of a few years ago. I had a phase where I watched a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's content, but I didn't like the movie at all. The thing is, video game movies have it kind of difficult, I have to say. You, in a way, you have to, the concept and the vibe and also the story and whatever in the movie, you have to convert that very well into a movie, but you can't be predictable. And you also have to attract new viewers in a way because you are converting something into a movie and that's going to be a different audience. But you also have to kind of please the fans that are already fans of the games. So yeah, that's a very difficult job. I can tell you a lot of movies that didn't really get that balance, and I can tell you one more movie that couldn't really get that balance, which is Five Nights at Freddy's. The first thing they did, or the major thing that they did, was to create a lot more character around the security guard, because to be honest, you are playing a very non-existent person in the games, and this time around we obviously need to have a main character that we care for. So they expand a lot on his backstory, about his family life and about things that happened in his past, all that. And I have to say, it's not that interesting because parts of the story is just not that great, or just not very, yeah, again, interesting. And then there's also a lot of flashbacks that are just kind of annoying to me, and I just didn't think they fit very well into the story. The security guard is played by John Hutchison, and I know him from the Hunger Games mainly, but also from RV, which was kind of surprising to know that that's John Hutchison. But yeah, I nevertheless thought he was really good in the movie. I also thought Piper Rudio, who played the daughter, and Elizabeth Lale, who played the police officer, were pretty good too, but I just genuinely didn't have a lot of like interest in their characters. Now here's the main thing that's kind of a problem to me in this movie, and that's that it doesn't really feel like a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. And to me, that's all about what they are showing and what they are not showing, because in Five Nights at Freddy's, the games, they are intentionally not showing a lot, which is part of why this is so scary. But the movie showed way too much. First of all, we spend way too much time outside of this place. It feels very isolated in the games, but this time around we spend so much time at different locations, also with characters that are just so not interesting at all or important, that it really distracts from the scariness of this place. Second of all, you see way too much from the place itself. The fact that you only see certain angles of certain rooms in the cameras of the games is part of why it's so scary. And I mean, if you just see the whole place, you can kind of imagine a lot less and you just see a lot more. The place is shown way too much in like bright daylight and also very functionable, which just all kind of takes away from how scary this place actually is. And the third thing is the fact that you see these animatronics way too much. The main thing scary about these games is that you have to wait and that you have to constantly just watch. And when you are looking at the camera, for example, and you see nothing is there, and when you switch to a different camera and then come back again, and all of a sudden there's something there that wasn't there before. That's the scary part of Five Nights at Freddy's. That's why it's so unnerving, because you don't see what is happening, you just see that something happened, but you don't quite know what or why. And when you are exposed to the animatronics in this movie, it's way too not scary because you already see them moving, and so that takes away from all the imagination of what horrors could lie beneath the darkness in some rooms, for example. We also spend a lot of time with them not being like threatening at all. I didn't expect that. There's a big part of the movie that is really about them not being scary at all. They are just kind of there, and it really takes away from the scariness of these things. And also there's this cold open that instantly spoils what is up with these things. It doesn't spoil like the backstory or anything, but it definitely spoils the fact that this is something that is not quite right and that you have to be scared of something. But I think the tension of waiting to see what is happening or if something's happening could be so much more scary. And then there's another thing, which is the police officer in this movie. I mean, she is just kind of very annoying, it feels like. It's not the character herself, but it's just the fact that she seems to know a lot, that she's just deliberately not telling you. And it's so frustrating. Like, this movie has so much information just locked away, and you know that they are just holding it away because they don't have a better way of like creating tension. Normally this character would just spill everything from the first second on, because that's what you do in a situation like this. But there are reasons for why she doesn't do that, and it just is so annoying to me. And also there's a twist ending in the end that just it feels like Scooby-Doo in a way, in two different ways, and none of them are good. So yeah, this movie is really disappointing. To be honest, like I said, a movie that is based on a video game has a kind of challenge to make the movie appeal to everyone, to new fans and also to fans who are already there for a long time. And to me it feels like they missed the mark in a way. I would want a movie that is based on a video game to expand a lot more on what we don't see in the video games. But I think this time around they just did it way too much, and they would have benefited from doing a lot less than they actually did. I think just using the simple concept and the tension that comes from just like very little happening, like for example in Paranormal Activity, would have worked a lot more for this movie. And because they showed way too much and didn't concentrate enough at all on the things that are actually scary or interesting in this film, it just left me very cold and not scared or unsettled or interested at all. But maybe just don't listen to me, because I watched this with two people who are very big Five Nights at Freddy's fans and they enjoyed it. So if you are a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, you will probably get a lot from this film. So I still recommend it. There is something good about this movie. This movie looks very good. It definitely expands a little on the first game itself, and also there's a lot of good acting in this film. It's just not for me. So I give this movie a 2 out of 10. Happy Halloween, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.